Step one, we're going to use foundation to just give us a nice clean application, smooth surface, get some of that unevenness out, and give us a nice clean palette to start with. I prefer Dior Air Flash. It gives me nice coverage with minimal application. I don't need a whole lot of the stuff to get really nice coverage, so I don't feel like it goes on caked on, as long as you make sure you're not putting too much on. So that's really the key with the first step, is we're gonna use foundation. If you use liquid, it doesn't matter. If you use an airbrush, doesn't matter. It's still just the main concept is we don't want to put too much on to start, because we don't need full coverage for every step of the way, because we're going to be adding to it and we've got more products to put on top of it, so we don't need to go for full coverage with that first application. So what I've done so far without the video is I just went in and did primer, and I did my concealer, and I've done my eyeshadow because I always do my eyeshadow before I do foundation. So that's all I've done without you. So we're gonna get started with the foundation. So shake it up, put just a little bit on the brush, just a small spray, and then you wanna dab it around. And like I said, this translates to whatever kind of foundation it is that you're using. Get you some better lighting there. And then we're basically gonna just work it in, and we're gonna see how it covers. And I usually end up doing 2 sprays to give myself nice coverage. But I spread it all around, and the goal with your foundation is not to cover every square inch of your face. You're just kind of blending, so I don't have very much left on my brush at all, but I'm blending it down into my neck area so that it transfers nicely down my face. So I need most coverage going to be up here under my eyes and right around in here. We want to basically fade out the foundation, so it should really match your skin tone, because you're going to fade it out as you go down your jawline and into your neck. But I would like a little bit more, and I usually end up using much less on a daily basis than I do on the camera for you guys, because it's a little bit more difficult for you guys to see with the camera. The camera kind of shows off flaws, especially with the lighting that I've got in here for a photo shoot. But you can see I'm just kind of like spreading it all around, really not applying very much at all, because basically what we're doing here is just taking care of some of the unevenness. We're gonna finish it off with powder, so we're giving ourselves a nice smooth surface to start with also for the powder, and taking out some discoloration. So we do circular buffing motions to work it in to fine lines. And we work it down the neck area, up into the forehead, and the more time you spend on this with less makeup, the better your application is going to look. So the next step is the bronzer, and it's a pretty dark color. Use a contouring brush, and I start usually underneath my cheekbones, and this is a preferential technique. How far you go down the side of your face here is just your own preference. I like to have nicely defined cheekbones, so I usually go pretty far. And we're going to carry it up into the forehead, and the larger forehead you have, the more contouring you're going to do with the darker color up here. If you have a smaller forehead, you might want to use a smaller brush and just go around the very edge of your forehead. So this is where I end up applying most of the color and the powder to my face, is with the bronzer. And we'll do the same thing over here on this side. Bring it up around the temple area into the forehead. And I kind of give a little bit more contouring in here. And then we're also going to bring it down along the jawline, which if you're not careful, you can end up with that dark jawline. So I'll show you how to avoid that. And you want to basically, before you leave the house, after you've done contouring, walk into natural lighting And if you've got a mirror over there, that's great. Otherwise, just turn your camera phone on and take a look at yourself and make sure you haven't left yourself with any streaks or anything like that. And then we want to highlight this muscle right here for depth in the neck, and it also helps to match the color. And this is the sternocleidomastoid, or SCM. And basically, if you turn your head from side to side, you should see it go from right here at your collarbone all the way up behind your ear. So we want to highlight that shadow area, or I guess not highlight, we're not using highlighter, but contour the shadow area. And it gives us quite a bit of color change right here, which we'll have to come back and remember to take care of later. And then I like to, with contouring, go in with a smaller brush and highlight some of the more delicate areas. Like, I like to come in here and I really like a nice defined cheekbone, and that's something that a lot of people have asked me about, is how do I get my cheeks to look this way. So I come in here and just make that line a little bit more defined, and I bring it up around here to give myself a nice rounded apple of my cheek. So we'll do the same thing on this side. And then without a whole lot on my brush, I come in and do the two sides of my nose. And then I like to bring a little bit of shadow underneath. And if you want, you can kind of fill in around here, and it gives a little bit of structure to the tip of your nose. And then if I've smudged any on top of my nose, because I don't want it to be dark on the top of my nose, I go back in and get that. And then I like to also define my chin so that when I smile, I have a nice big happy smile. So I look at my lines and I come underneath here, and then I bring in my smile line right here. And if you wanted to just experiment with this a little bit, because I do quite a bit of contouring, so I'm showing you guys the look that people ask me about, how do I do this, and the trick is just these smaller lines that I go back in and do. But if you wanted to try experimenting a little less with this, you could just do underneath your chin a little bit, and then like a small little divot right here, just to give yourself some definition around your chin. And then I like to go in and do that spot again, a little smaller, a little bit more deliberate with the brush strokes with a smaller brush. And carry it down. So we've got quite a bit of color on the face right now. And basically what we're gonna do is blend it the rest of the way with a lighter color that matches my face. And that's where I feel like a lot of women go a little wrong with the contouring, is that they feel like they're setting their powder, they're adding color to their face, they're blending it, so they're adding a lot of product in this step, and there's not much product that you need to use. The goal here is going to be to blend the color up into the lines of my face, and to kind of just add a little bit of setting powder to like this area and blend it out the rest of the way so that it matches. So I'm not really applying much. So I'll show you. I go ahead and load up my brush, not a whole lot. Start here where I need the most amount of powder, and then just start buffing it out in circular motions, coming all the way down. And the longer that you spend on this step, the more natural your look is gonna be, because you've already got a lot of powder on your face. So you're spreading it out and you're giving it a chance to fill in and add color. So you don't want to be adding too much product. So the real key to a natural contoured look is the buffing and blending. So you can see I only really put product on once for this whole side of my face, and I didn't use much. And the more we work with it, the better it looks. And we want to make sure that we go down the neck and we fix that harsh line that we put in, and we make it match the color of the face. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same process on the other side of my face. A little bit on the brush, starting right here, and just buffing it out. So at this point, I'll work on making sure the rest of my face is blended. Circular motions all around. And then I usually end up going just one last time. And I'll dab a little bit right here, a little bit right here, and then come in and see that I needed a little bit more blending right here. And again, I'll just keep going all the way around my face with it. And I like the naturalness of a little bit of a matted look. I know the dewy look is very popular, so you can see here, I'll come in a little closer, how natural my skin looks because there's not a whole lot of product on there. It's really just the right amount of foundation that I've blended in there. And I can't stress enough that the goal of the actual foundation is not to cover every square inch of your face. You want to start where you need the most product, right in here usually, and just sort of blend it out all along your face until you get to the edge, and there shouldn't really be much there. You shouldn't see a clean line here going along your scalp and then all the way down your neck. You shouldn't see that. So you want to just make sure that you're not putting too much on, because every step of the way you can always go back if you feel like you've completed that step and take a look at yourself and see, do you need a little bit more? You can always go back. I could even go back now and do a little bit more concealer here, put a little bit more powder here, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish my look off with just finishing my eyebrows, mascara, and I'll add a little bit of highlighter into this space and up here, and then I'll show you guys some after pictures of how it comes out.